Moonstruck is brought to you by Moon Guide. Plan your best hunt. When it comes to pursuing trophy whitetails, one question burns in every hunter's mind. It really is the million-dollar question. Is it possible to predict with any consistency when a big buck will make his move? The mature whitetail buck is a master of survival, honed by 4, 5, or even 6 hunting seasons. He's learned that moving in daylight carries a steep risk. One wrong move could cost him his life. What would entice a wary, mature buck to tempt fate and briefly let his guard down, forsaking the safety of night's cover and venturing into the open during daylight hours? What factors, alone or combined, could override his hard-earned instincts to stay hidden until dark? Outside of the urge to breed, there are multiple factors that are proven to increase deer activity, like the wind, the weather, and the moon. What role do each of these factors play, and are any one of these key triggers more important than the rest? Which one is strong enough to get an old cagey buck on his feet when he knows he should stay put? Or is this game of chess between predator and prey really just a matter of luck?
When it comes to hunting big whitetails, I really believe the key to being consistently successful ultimately lies within our ability to predict what he's going to do before he ever does it. Well, how do we do that? How do you do that when they just don't make many mistakes in daylight? How do we know he's going to make a move? How can we predict that movement with any kind of consistent accuracy? Outside of the breeding season, I believe it really boils down to 3 things: the wind, the weather, and the moon. He's a master at the game of survival, so it really stands to reason that he's only going to move when he feels safe. And what makes a big deer feel safer than having the wind in his favor?
Look at that. Oh my gosh, what a deer.
When I quit hunting winds that were good for me and started focusing on winds that were good for the buck I was after, my success changed dramatically. If you think about it, it really makes perfect sense. Give him the wind he needs to feel comfortable enough to move before dark. Besides the wind, we all know there are certain weather patterns that will increase activity, no question. Whether it's that first cold front of the year, a high pressure system, there are those few magical days when you know deer are going to be moving and you got to be in a tree stand. Those are the days when you know that the weather is going to trump everything and deer are going to be active. But there are a handful of days every month, regardless of weather conditions, when the gravitational pull of the moon hitting at prime time in the morning or evening, when deer normally want to move anyway, that lunar influence is going to get deer moving early, especially those bigger, more mature animals that normally might just lay there in bed until it's dark. On those days, the moon can trump even the weather. I've seen it happen, and I talk to hundreds of guys every year that have witnessed it too.
Red Moon does it again. A 7.5-year-old buck. My gosh, look at the mass on this, guys.
Every month of the season, you're going to have a handful of days when the red moon is going to trump the weather, and you better know when those days are if you really want to stack the deck in your favor.
When we return, we take an in-depth look at the factors that increase daylight activity for monster bucks and how you too can stack the deck in your favor this hunting season. For more information on the moon's effect on deer, go to moonguide.com or get the Moon Guide app in the App Store or Google Play. In the realm of trophy whitetail hunting, Adam Hayes' track record speaks for itself. For nearly half a century, he's roamed the Midwest timber and farmlands, pursuing the elusive giants that fuel every hunter's dreams. His record, 14 bow-harvested bucks topping 170 inches, with 4 surpassing the coveted 200-inch mark, marking him as a true master of the craft. Adam's success stems from a finely honed system that delivers remarkable consistency. His approach starts with a keen respect for the wind, deliberately giving mature bucks the upper hand to lull them into a false sense of security. Then he bides his time, only striking when specific conditions align. Guided by over 3 decades of real-world experience studying lunar effects on deer, Adam swears by the Moon Guide's Red Moon, a hidden gem that he believes unlocks the secret to outsmarting the wariest whitetails. A perfect example of his proven strategy was the hunt for his largest buck to date, a Kansas giant that scored over 220 inches, taken in the shadows of a red moon.
I just shot my 4th 200-inch deer. Yes! And that is my biggest buck ever. Yes! I just killed my 4th 200-inch whitetail. Yes! Would you look at that? That right there is what dreams are made of. This is my 10th Boone and Crockett whitetail with a bow, and my 4th 200-inch whitetail with a bow. This has got to be one of the proudest moments of my life. Just want to take a minute to talk about the Moon Guide. I don't know how many times I've talked about it in the last 20 years, but 4th 200-inch deer. Pulled out the Moon Guide. I know it's a red moon this week. That's why I'm here. I schedule all my hunts out of state around the Moon Guide. 5:44 is when I texted Chris and Adam that I just killed my 4th 200. If you look at the date on the Moon Guide today, the red moon was at 5:41. I don't know how you get much closer than that. I can't explain it other than the fact that, you know, it's Mother Nature. It's not a gimmick. Been following it for 2 decades, and the proof is right here.
Now, a lot of people don't know it, but Jeff Murray was actually the man that invented the Moon Guide back in the early 90s. You know, Jeff was a big whitetail guy, loved to hunt, loved to fish, big outdoor rider. And, you know, when he came out with the Moon Guide, he kind of was about the same time that I'd met him, and he kind of took me under his wings and, you know, kind of showed me the ropes, helped me understand, you know, lunar influences and the Moon Guide. And it just so happened that that first season, really, that I paid attention to it, I killed my first 200-inch deer, which, you know, sold me on it for sure. But it really opened my eyes to, you know, not overhunting my spots and waiting for these conditions to line up that really stack the deck in your favor. And had great luck with it for, you know, years after that. Jeff actually developed leukemia and battled that for 5 or 6 years before he passed. But before he did, he hunted with me in Ohio, and we talked about the Moon Guide. And, I talked about being able to continue Jeff's work after he was gone, and it means the world to me to be able to do that. And I just hope that by sharing this information, other people are going to be able to experience the same kind of success that I've had with it.
When we come back, Lee Lakosky shares his insights on the Moon Guide and the impact it's had on his success when it comes to hunting giant whitetails. For more information on the moon's effect on deer, go to moonguide.com or get the Moon Guide app in the App Store or Google Play.
This is exactly the type of day when you got the cold front coming, you got red moon, you got everything lining up. These are the days when a big one shows up. He is a beauty. Look at that thing. Golly, look at that thing. Oh man.
Lee Lakosky is one of North America's most renowned whitetail hunters, and it's easy to see why. Living in the heart of prime big buck country, Lee dedicates himself year-round to cultivating and harvesting world-class whitetails. For him, hunting is more than a passion, it's a way of life. Yet Lee also knows the value of strategy, timing his hunts to maximize the chances of a trophy buck making a critical mistake.
At the Moon Guide, you can see the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Those are the red moon days. Every day that we've gone out, we saw our big ones. We had a couple more days of that red moon, and we made it happen right there. Hey everyone, Lee Lakosky here from the Crush TV. If you've watched our YouTube episodes or our TV show over the years, you probably heard me talk about the red moon a lot. And that's basically just because it works. There's so many things that you can't predict when it comes to hunting. You don't know next month or in 2 months, or like you're trying to plan your vacation for next year. You don't know if you're gonna have a cold front. You don't know what the wind's gonna be, temperatures, all that, but what you can predict is the moon phase. So that's why I always use the app months in advance, like we're planning out our year, where we want to go. We always look at those weeks. If we're going to go out of town or whatever, look at the weeks that have the red moon in them. And at home we've shot so many of our good bucks. Look at last year. A lot of times they'll just wait for the wind to get right and a cold front coming during the red moon. You go out, bang, the first day in the stand, like last year on Sporky, and the year before with the big 9-point with the giant brows. There's just, the list goes on and on. We've shot so many of our big bucks during the red moon. And it's not just for that. We go up to Alberta for mule deer or any of our hunts. We basically, if we're gonna go, let's just take a look at that month, see when the red moon weeks are, and let's go on those. And just for instance, today, it's September 24th, right at the end of the red moon week this week, and we're out here in Montana, and Tiffany just shot this morning her best bull ever. Congratulations, Tiffany. So like I said, it's not just for whitetails. Any of your hunting trips we go on, we look at your Red Moon app and you plan your trips around that. If you don't have the Moon Guide, you better go out and get it now.
Still pretty warm out. I haven't really had a daylight picture of him for 2 weeks probably, but you just never know. This is exactly the type of day when you got the cold front coming, you got red moon, you got everything lining up. That all of a sudden, bam, you'll be out in daylight, so.
The next 2 days are a drastic cold front coming in. Looking at the Moon Guide, I've got a couple days that are still perfect moon phase for him, and the cold front. I'm super pumped about these next 2 days to come.
Sitting here and all these does are pouring out and it's early, and I was like, these are the days when a big one shows up.
No other deer that I want to shoot more than Sporky. Mostly for me because of the challenge of all those years, just getting like one picture a year and just wondering what the heck this deer did, and then just kind of figure that out this year, put a plan together and have it the first week before he breaks anything or while he's still predictable. That's what this whole game is about. It is so awesome when a plan comes together.
when we return.
I got on the phone, I was talking with my buddy Adam Hayes, who has a moon guide. Now, I've been using that for over 20 years when it had the old dial and stuff, but now Adam has it on an app. It's him, it's him, it's him.
When it comes to growing, hunting, and harvesting giant white-tailed deer, Lee Lakosky is a true master of the craft. His relentless dedication and tireless effort yield consistent, jaw-dropping results, proving that hard work pays off. Yet Lee knows that success hinges on using every advantage available. That's where the Moon Guide becomes an indispensable tool, helping to predict when that giant will make a mistake.
Well, I'm just going through pictures over on that farm looking for the big 9 and getting some nighttime ones again. Here's on the 30th. He's not with the doe there anyway, so if he was with the doe over this time, he's broken away. And I'm just pulled up the moon guide, and you can see on the 3rd, which is today, is the first day of the red moon, where it should be super good. Temperature just skyrocket. I'm still thinking about the big 9 and wanting to hunt him, but it's so warm. I don't know if I'll ever get a shot at seeing a deer like that that's so hit or miss. I got on the phone, I was talking with my buddy Adam Hayes, who has a moon guide. Now, I've been using that for over 20 years when it had the old dial and stuff, but now Adam has it on an app. And talking to him about that red moon coming up that first week in November, and even though it's hot, if deer are gonna be on their feet, this is the time. And all of a sudden, Willie texted me, hey, there's a buck coming down the ridge to our right, and I think it's him. It's him, it's him, it's him. He's coming. I think he'll come right over to this scrape. 32 yards. He's going on farther, he's going farther. Check him out about 45. That. Ready? Yep. Yes! And he's down. Golly, it's been so many days hunting that big 9, and you know, every time we come in here, we never see him. And then the times that we'd go someplace else, he'd be in here. And today, it's like, it's been so cold and been so awesome. And today's like a 70-degree day. No deer. I mean, we had a couple fawns in here, no does, nothing. I was like, oh boy, this can be a slow day. We see one deer coming. He's rubbing a tree down there, and it's him. Literally around 70 yards, and he's down. Yes. That's the sight you like to see right there. Golly, look at that. Yes. Look at the brows on that thing. Whoa. All year I've been looking at this deer from velvet, right through to hardhorn, right on this field. He just basically has spent his life up here. Had my eye on him all year long. I just love the brows on him. I mean, look at that mask up on those edges right in there. It's like I just could not be happier. What a season for me to shoot my biggest deer ever, a 222. A month later, the first week in November, to shoot the big 9. Yes, look at that. Hey everyone, Lee Lakosky here from the Crush TV. You know, if you've been watching our episodes over the past few years, you know how much we rely on the Moon Guide app, not just for where we're gonna hunt and what our best days are this week, but also in the future for even next year, which week we're gonna take vacation on. But one of the new features that they have on Moon Guide is in their weather app. And you go to the weather and you hit wind, and you see all the particles moving in the direction and the speed that the wind is at, and they go right over a satellite image of where you're standing. So if you're in your stand, or if you go to a place where your stand is, you can look at it, and you can fast forward hour by hour for 24 hours. You can see how the wind changes throughout the day. So in the past, you know, the Moon Guide app would always tell us the best days and times to hunt, now you know exactly what stands you should be hunting to, and that's Moon Guide.
For more information on the moon's effect on deer, go to moonguide.com or get the Moon Guide app in the App Store or Google Play.